I do remember having conversations, talking about giving it up, and I said it'll be typical the year that I do give it up. We'll win the Heineken Cup, and he says it'll be just as sweet as another member as it would be as captain. So don't worry about that.
I mean, Brian O'Driscoll is the best player that Ireland have ever had, and it'll be a long time before we see that again.
He was playing on a Leinster under-19 team or under-20 team at the time, and Mike sent me to watch Shane Horgan, who was playing on the wing. And I remember going to the match, and on the way in I met Wardy, who was covering it, I think, for the paper. And Wardy says to me, "Don't worry about Shane Horgan." He says, "He'll be all right. He'll make it on the wing, without a doubt. He said, have a look at the fella in the centre." He says, "He's a young fella from UCD. He's a son of Frankie O'Driscoll's."
I was given my first rugby ball from at a very young age. There's a picture at home where I'm running with it, but I've absolutely no recollection of it, because for me it was all about soccer and Gaelic football until I did go to Willow Park as a 12-year-old. So as much as I had been given a ball early in my childhood, it's not something that stands out for me.
From a very early age, riding a bicycle before his time, a two-wheeler bicycle without stabilisers. And we could see that he had a great sense of balance. Watching him play any kind of ball game, watching him throw darts, anything like that, it was quite obvious from an early stage that he had great hand-eye coordination and was absolutely obsessed with sport.
My love for it really came when I went to Willow Park, and I suppose time constraints necessitated me to pick and choose between what sports I played, and because rugby was, my dad thought and my mum thought I'd enjoy it by going over to Blackrock, and sure enough they were right.
Put to Bomey, the show and goal. He's in the open parade, gets the superb support from O'Driscoll.
And I was absolutely electrified by this guy. It's the first I'd heard of him. He was just the business.
To me, Brian O'Driscoll, the best player in the world, the best player I have ever seen. As I've often said, Brian could play hooker if he had to. He could play in the second. He'd certainly make a great back row forward. Unbelievable back row forward.
Well, Leinster crowd are liking what they're seeing. Here's O'Driscoll again. Go good, it'll chip by O'Driscoll. That's brilliant skill. He's going to go in again. O'Driscoll.
Dricko's a bit of a freak. Like he's sort of just gets, the bigger the occasion, the better he gets. And I'm not just saying that but he just saves it for those big occasions.
I mean, Brian has scored tries in this pick and drive business. I've seen him score tries like that. He scored international tries that way. I've never seen people mention all the great Irish players, but you've never seen any of them do that. When do you see them tackling props, second rows? I mean, he's just a one-off.
I think that Brian O'Driscoll's a class act, not just on the field but also off the field, and the way that I think what's really interesting for me to have noted with Brian is that his contribution to his team, Leinster, right, has been instrumental in the way that the club has changed by his approach to on-field events, off-field events, his decisions, his captaincy, his leaving of the captaincy, the way he's handled another support role, his play, nurturing of younger players. Like, he's overall one of the great players in the world. I don't think it's very difficult for anyone to see that.
His hunger to win, his mental strength, his ambition, and I suppose his bravery has no end. And that in itself is a lift when he's captain.